what can we as citizens do to not just make us aware, but how do we change the legislation so whatever needs to take place for the waters to be safer, they're doing that? Can they be safer?
Yes, they can. So part of it is what's good as a law if it's not enforced, right? So part of it is that if you are in a community and you see raw sewage bubbling up from a manhole, call somebody, right? Call somebody, because that's impacting your quality of life, that's impacting your property value, that's also impacting your health. So the first thing to do, if you see something fishy, take a video, take a picture of it, record it. Because a lot of times that's the most important thing, is to prove that it happened. The second thing is, when we were introducing this legislation, I'd love to partner with any of you that are interested. We need people to go show up with us on lobby days and talk to your elected officials and tell them this matters. Because what we found is a lot of people are like, well, nobody eats fish from the river. That's not true. We've surveyed anglers, we've surveyed hundreds of anglers that are out there targeting catfish, and catfish get big, right? You want to catch the biggest fish? Well, the biggest fish has the biggest probability of the biggest amount of contaminants. So what you can do to protect yourself is try to, if you are fishing for supper, eat smaller fish. We have a 1-800 number you can call that's statewide in English and in Spanish, because we want to be inclusive to everybody who looks to our rivers for food, and being mindful that the literacy rates in certain places are not as great, so we want to make it accessible. So we want your support, and we'll need you to call your elected officials during the next session and tell them to support this bill, which will require signs. It will also require, when you get your fishing license, that info is on your fishing license, right? Because if you're fishing, you should have your license, right? You should definitely have your license. But it's really, really important that we be mindful. We got to meet people where they are. And the last thing I want to do, if you have your one day off and you want to go fish, I don't want to look at you in the eyes and say that fish is going to cause cancer, but I feel like it's my duty. These are state issued advisories. And if they're not going to do it, that's why nonprofits exist, is to be able to meet the needs of the communities without the corruption.
What's the process of getting the water tested in your area?
Are you asking about drinking water? Or
Fishing.
Fishing.
I like to eat fish.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yes, and I'm sorry to break your heart with this information, but I gotta tell you. So the other thing I want to say is, what is the best way to eat fish? Right. Okay, now that's good, but let's think about frying. So I don't know about y'all, but I was raised on you reuse your cooking oil at least a couple times, because it gets more tasty, as my mom says. So when you have a fat-soluble contaminant like PCBs, which is what we have in the Coosa system, every time you reuse that frying oil, you are unintentionally exposing yourself to more of that cancer-causing material. So super important. Our website has recipes. It has information about how you can reduce your exposure, because this is an incredibly important thing, and I believe that we all should be able to easily understand this information.